Hey everybody, in this video we're gonna play Dominoes. Dominoes is a fun game that you can play with your family. You play it on a big table. In this particular case, I have the app version. Don't worry, it's exactly the same thing, but it's a great way for me to demonstrate how to play. So in this video, there's two parts. The first part is me going over the rules, and the second part is me playing a game where you can follow along as I explain it. So let's get going. The goal of the game of Dominoes is to be the first one to get to 150 points. I'm going to get to scoring in just a second, but know that the goal, through multiple rounds of play, is 150 points. The setup of the game is simple. At the beginning of the game, each player is given 7 bones, which is 7 dominoes, and all the remaining dominoes make up the boneyard, which means spread out on the table upside down. Now let's quickly look at the dominoes. They each have 2 sides, and they can have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on either side, and then some of them are doubles. There's 2 1s, there's double 2s, double 3s. This is all part of the order of how you lay down the dominoes. So the way the game is started is the first domino is placed by the player who has the highest double. You go around, and whoever has that highest first double lays that down. That's the first move. And then after that, it goes one player at a time in a clockwise fashion around. And after that, each player lays down a single domino next to another domino so that the numbers match. Also, if it's a blank, think of the blank as a 0. So as long as if there's a blank and you have a blank, think of that as a match as well. I'm going to show you that in a second. It's very simple. If a player has no playable domino in your hand, in other words, if all of the exposed places where you could put a domino are not there, then you have to draw dominoes from the boneyard until you have a playable domino. If there's no more dominoes left in the boneyard, then you pass. But mostly they'll always be dominoes. I mean, late in the game, maybe you're getting down to the end. Now, I told you that the highest double starts. Again, a double is a domino with the same number of dots on each side of the domino, a 5 and a 5, an 8 and an 8, etc. But the way this game works is that everyone lays down a domino in the form of like a train so that the numbers match. So if like you lay down a domino that is 5 and you have to match with the 5. But let's say you had a doublet. You had a domino that had 5 on one side and 5 on the other. In that case, what you would do is you would lay down the domino lengthwise. And that allows the domino board to start opening up. So the first doublet laid down forms a cross so that each player can place their bones adjacent to all 4 sides of that doublet. You'll see what I mean in just a second. Now I'm going to talk about scoring in a second, so let's go ahead and just play. So there's the boneyard, it's mixed up. I'm playing only 2 players, although you can play with multiple players. There are my 7 dominoes on the bottom, a 6 with a blank, a doublet, a 1 and 1, a 6 and 1, a 2 and 3, a 3 and 4, a 3 and 6, and a double 6. So the highest doublet goes first. I'm going to guess it's mine because it's a 6 and 6, put it there. And immediately the opponent I'm playing with must not have had any with 6 on it because he had to draw several dominoes from the boneyard before he could even come up with a 6. Now, you see how he's placed the 6 diagonal instead of on the end? You play doublets on the side, but everything else is done in a straight line. So my options now would be to either build on to the 6th here. I have a 6, I have a 6, I have a 6, or I could continue on by adding my 2 to the end and continuing that train. He had a 3, which allowed him to continue on with the 3, and now it's a 1. Well, it creates a situation with me. I could go back and play off the 6 again. I have my 6s, and 6s, but I also could play this 1 over there on the left. I also could play my double 1s over here and create another 1, which I'll do just for the examples here. So that opens that up. And now I still have my 1s and my 6s to play with. So I'll choose to play the 6s off of the 6. And he plays a 1. I can continue, I suppose, that 1. I have 2 dominoes left. One is a 3 and 4, and notice it's shaded. It's because there really is no spot for me to play against a 3 or a 4, because if you look at the ends here, there's a 5 or a 6, but this one has a 6, and I can play that 6. And now it allows me on the left side, upper left, you see, to play my 4, play it there, I'm out. So, do we want to talk scoring real fast? So let's talk about scoring. Weirdly, scoring is not just adding up the sum of the dominoes. Points are earned when a player plays a tile with the result that the count, or the sum, of all open ends is a multiple of 5. So in other words, if you're able to play a tile and the open ends are a multiple of 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, etc., then the player earns the points. They earn the points equal to the sum of the ends. Therefore, if a player plays a tile that makes the sum of, say, 5, 10, 15, or 20, the player gets that number. And when you're adding up those numbers, know that on a double, a crosswise doubles, you actually get to count both of those sides as well until those sides are played on. So let's go back and look at our score. When I played my 2 and a 3 by placing the 2 2s together, it created a total of 15. The 2 6s, as well as the exposed 3. Total of 15, I got 15 points. Now at the end of the round, the player who won that round earns the points of the tiles remaining in their opponent's hand by rounding up the number of spots so that it's divisible by 5. So let's look at my opponent's hand here. 5, 10, 15, 16, 24, 34, 42, 49, 55. So the 55 is added to my 15 for a final score of 70. Again, to win, you need 150 points. So I'm doing pretty good after the first round. Now, one thing I should say is that there are so many variations on the domino game that it's hard to just give you these rules and say that these rules apply to all. And I have other videos on all the different variations of dominoes games. There's cribbage dominoes, there's one called fives, one called all fives, one called muggins, lots of different ways. Now, I highly encourage you to continue on to my other dominoes videos for all the variations on this, as well as all the other games that I play. And also check out my Patreon page where you can play against me one-on-one. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much.